My ex-wife, a 35-year-old female, and I, a 36-year-old male, divorced 2 years ago because she cheated on me with a dude. Let's call him Smelly Jacket, a 44-year-old male. We have one daughter together, and she and Smelly Jacket got married after our divorce. Jacket has a son, a 19-year-old male, whom I'll call Beak Nose. At my daughter's birthday celebration, I met a woman I'll call Dimples, a 20-year-old female. She caught my eye and we hooked up. At that time, I didn't know she was the girlfriend of Beak Nose. Beak Nose found out and confronted me in a parking lot. I told him that I didn't know Dimples was his girlfriend and suggested he take it up with her if he was so angry. He wouldn't let it go, so I got a little angry and told him that he should go cry in front of his mommy. I added that if she cheated with me, she was sleeping with half the town behind his back. Suddenly, he started punching me. I got him off me and ran away. What he did was recorded on a security camera, and he was later charged with something serious. Smelly Jacket asked me to settle out of court, but I'm not interested. Beak Nose wants to join the FBI in the future, and a criminal record is going to make it impossible for him to join. I guess I could have been less of an idiot to him, but overall I don't think I'm in the wrong in this situation. If he destroyed his future for a girl who didn't even like him, then he deserves to go to jail. My ex-wife is pasto ring me to settle it, because it will cause problems in her marriage. I kinda don't care that much. How am I at fault in this whole scenario? I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm made to feel like I'm being unreasonable. Am I the idiot for pressing charges on my ex-wife's stepson? So your ex-wife cheated on you with a guy, and now, after you were assaulted, they're asking you for a favor to help their marriage. The audacity, not the idiot. Press charges if for no other reason than to keep him out of the FBI. He clearly doesn't have the judgment, control, or temperament to have a badge. He sought you out and attacked you and also to screw you to people who crapped on you, your feelings, and your home life. Fry them. You played the long game and this was served right to you, super, and just. To think, if his daddy didn't bang your wife, you wouldn't have even been available to screw the girlfriend. He needs to thank his daddy as a matter of fact. I'd point that all out. Domino effect, they made it all possible. Is anyone noticing that OP is 36 and he hooked up with a girl he met at his daughter's birthday party? What the heck is he doing having his intimacy with a 20-year-old? Yeah, the kid shouldn't have beaten OP, but I can't let him off the hook for how gross that is. 16 years apart, completely different eras of their lives because he's been a grown-up for quite some time. OP also insulted her for having slept with him. He called her a... when she had no conflict with OP having been a 20-year-old girl. I think it's creepy. I have a brother 15 years older than me. We've never been at the same point in our lives at the same time. Let's recap. You hooked up with a 20-year-old at your daughter's birthday party. Turns out it was his kid's girlfriend. You escalated the situation when he confronted you, and it became physical. The physical isn't okay, never is, but you're dealing with kids all the way around, and you acted like one too. You are the idiot no matter the fallout. Who hooks up at his daughter's celebration? Totally avoidable by you. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. My sister-in-law, Alice, is a single mom. She had her first child at 16 and a second by 19. Alice lived with her parents but was often mistreated by my mother-in-law, Pat. My mother-in-law is a mean, petty woman. She wore a light beige dress to my wedding, and anything I do isn't good enough. My grandmother died and I inherited a double condo townhouse. My husband and I moved into one, and the tenants next to us moved out about 6 months ago. Alice was having a hard time, so I told my hubby if she could keep it nice, she could move in. Alice is working part-time and going to orthodontics assistant schooling. She's not a troubled person, as my mother-in-law makes her out to be. In 6 months, she hasn't been a problem, and the boys are now 7 and 4, so not bad children, just boys. They remind me of my cousins. My mother-in-law was visiting Alice when the older one was outside playing and knocking over a planter on my side. Not a big deal. My mother-in-law screamed at him and called him names because he's a mixed child. I was so angry at her that I told my mother-in-law to leave the property and not come back to visit ever. My sister-in-law was shocked but cried, saying her mom often spoke to the 7-year-old like that. I told my hubby, and he thinks we overreacted to his mom, who just isn't used to children playing rough because they weren't allowed to. I told my husband, A ball bouncing is not rough playing. It's an accident. His mother's language was inexcusable under any circumstances. So, for the boy's mental health, that woman is not allowed over. His whole family said I'm being dramatic, and Alice has the habit of over-exaggerating everything, but I heard for myself what his mother said. In 6 months of Alice living in the next condo to us, she's never given me the reason not to trust her or think she's an unfit mother or bad person. My mother-in-law is still insisting she didn't say that, and I misheard her. My husband and I are still arguing over it because he thinks because his mother said it in anger because the child broke something expensive. I don't think that's a valid reason to say that to a child or anyone ever. Not the idiot. I don't think mean and patty is enough to describe your mother-in-law. I can't imagine screaming slurs at a child for an accident. OP, keep this woman away from you, your sister-in-law, your nephews, because this woman is someone you shouldn't be around. The fact your husband says you're overreacting to this is insane. It leads me to have certain thoughts about him. Yes, that's extremely concerning in itself. I'd be having a very serious conversation with the husband at this point because that's a big red flag. He cannot allow that kind of behavior, and he will need to learn how to put up boundaries and respect his wife's feelings. If he wants to cuddle his toxic and abusive mommy, he can live with her. My sister-in-law was shocked but cried, saying her mom often spoke to the 7-year-old like that. Holy cow, what the heck? I feel so bad for the child. His grandmother hates him, his mom doesn't stand up for him, and is probably a victim of abuse in some way as well. Sister-in-law has been living with her parents and may have been afraid that standing up for her son would make them homeless. Not saying that to excuse sister-in-law. It just makes grandma that much more of an idiot, taking advantage of the power she had over them. OP is an awesome person, giving sister-in-law an opportunity to be free, and her babies to be free, safe, and work to better themselves. Maybe sister-in-law also cried because no one stood up for her baby to her mom. I, 52, male, have 2 sons. Alex, 28, male, my biological son from my first marriage, and Jake, 26, my stepson from my wife's previous relationship. I married my current wife, 48, female, when the boys were teenagers. We blended our families the best we could. But Alex and Jake never really bonded. They were civil, but there was always tension, mostly from Alex, who felt like I was replacing him when I remarried. Over the years, I've tried to treat them equally. I paid for both of their college tuitions, helped them with their first cars, and supported them in their endeavors. I've always seen Jake as my own son, and my wife has done the same with Alex. We've done everything possible to blend our family, even though we knew the boys would never be best friends. Fast forward to now. Alex is engaged and planning a big wedding. He asked me months ago if I could contribute financially, and I happily agreed, setting aside a significant amount of money to cover most of the costs. We've been having regular planning meetings, and everything seemed to be going smoothly until last week, when I noticed Jake's name was missing from the guest list. When I asked Alex about it, he shrugged and said, "I just don't want him there." I was shocked and asked for an explanation, but Alex wouldn't give me one. He simply said it was his wedding, and he didn't feel obligated to invite anyone he didn't want there. I told Alex that Jake is part of the family, and that not inviting him would create unnecessary drama. Alex was adamant, saying they were never close and he didn't want to fake it on his big day. He said he'd rather have a smaller, more intimate event without any awkwardness, and I could either accept it or not. I told Alex that I wasn't comfortable funding a wedding where one of my sons was deliberately excluded without any clear reason. He got defensive and said it wasn't fair for me to hold the money over his head as a form of control. He accused me of never putting him first and always favoring Jake, which I found completely unfair, considering everything I've done for him. My wife is devastated. She feels like this is Alex's way of punishing us for marrying and blending our families. Jake, on the other hand, is trying to stay out of it, but I can tell he's hurt. He's acting like it doesn't bother him, but I know it does. He's never caused any problems and has always been respectful of Alex's space. Alex's fiancée called me and tried to mediate, saying that weddings are stressful and that Alex is just feeling overwhelmed. She begged me not to pull the funding as they've already booked venues and vendors with the expectation of my support. She said she understood how I felt but also reminded me that this was Alex's day, not a family reunion. Now, Alexis is barely speaking to me, and my extended family is split. Some think I'm justified for standing up for Jake, while others think I'm overstepping and should just let Alex have his day the way he wants it. I'm torn. I don't want to damage my relationship with Alex, but I also feel like this is a slap in the face to Jake and our entire family. Am I the idiot for refusing to pay for the wedding if Alex insists on excluding his stepbrother? They are not brothers. Get that through your head. They live together under your roof for 4 years max. At least be honest with yourself and others that you're upset because it bothers you that they're not close. Don't pretend it has anything to do with Jake's hurt feelings, which he hasn't told you he has. I will never understand why people think they can get divorced and then force their kids to like and get along with people or situations they never asked for or wanted, and then get mad when the kids don't just fall into line. You are the idiot for trying to force a relationship between two grown men who met when they were teenagers and never really gelled. I'm wondering what Alex got out of this blended family. Jake got his college education paid for. His mother didn't bother, apparently, and Alex got blamed for feeling pushed out. Heck, I was in college when my dad remarried a woman with a daughter the same age as me, and I still struggle with feelings like he replaced me altogether. I can only imagine how crappy it felt for Alex as a teenager. This might be cruel, but why would the original poster, OP, insist on treating the boys equally? Jake was already a teen when they got married. The OP doesn't say how long he dated his wife or exactly how old the boys were, but if Jake was 16 already when the OP met him, I'm not sure why the OP would feel the need to elevate him to being equal to his biological sons, whom he's raised since birth. I'm not saying to be mean and exclusionary to Jake, just that he isn't his son, not even close. Depending on how long they knew each other before Jake reached adulthood, you are the idiot. Go fix your relationship with your biological son before you lose him forever. My brother, a 30-year-old male, is married to Haley, a 29-year-old female, and they're expecting a baby together. Last year, my teen female sister officially changed her first name from Evelyn to Indy, which was a nickname form of her original middle name. My parents gave in after realizing how serious she was about being Indy and how she was not warming up to or growing into Evelyn. My brother and Haley want an older, vintage name for their baby, and Haley asked me about 5 months ago why I disliked Evelyn enough to change the name. At the time, she brought up how popular the name had become and how vintage is back. I told her I didn't like vintage names, and to me it sounded really old-fashioned. I told her the popularity didn't influence my decision. She wanted to know my reason for disliking older names and why I like something like Indy instead. I didn't mind her asking this the first time she brought it up, but a week later, when she asked again, she pressed more for why. She asked a third and a fourth time, and I gave her the same answer, asking her why she kept asking me. I told her my answer wasn't going to change by the 7th time she asked. By then, she admitted she was worried her baby would hate having an older name and wanted to figure out what she could do to prevent what happened with me happening to her. She also said she'd like me to rethink my name because she thought Evelyn was beautiful, and she was sad I'd chosen something like Indy over it. I asked her to stop so many times already and even asked my brother to stop her. He told me I needed to understand it was the hormones. I can easily say she's asked me this more than 25 times by now. I'm not exaggerating that number, either. 2 weeks ago, when she brought it up again, she felt like I'd made a mistake changing my name and how a 30-year-old me wouldn't be so against Evelyn. I told her a 30-year-old me can deal with it if that happens. She told me I didn't really have a good reason to like the name, and Indy seems like the kind of name someone young likes, but not someone older. Today happened, and I kind of lost my temper. She started out asking the same stuff, and the baby is almost ready to be born, so I know it's coming to an end. But she asked me to really think about why and help her because she couldn't figure out what she'd do differently than my parents did. Then she said they really shouldn't have let me change my name so young. I snapped and told her to stop asking me the same question because my answer won't change, and her comments are not changing my mind because I don't like old-fashioned names. I told her I think they're awful, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about how much better they are, and having her try to make me find a reason she finds acceptable. I told her just like she hates Indy, I hate Evelyn, and she needs to let it go already. She burst into tears, and my brother got so mad at me. My parents were also like, why did I have to speak to her so harshly? Am I the idiot for making my pregnant sister-in-law cry? If someone continues to question your identity and they don't accept you for who you are, and if they ignore your explanation and request to move on, they are bullies and discriminatory. So no surprise she burst into tears and is playing the victim now because that's what entitled bullies do when they're challenged. Not the idiot, Indy. If you reacted like this the very first time she asked, then you'd be a bit of an idiot, but after months of her asking you the same thing over and over and over, your reaction is justified. I hate the "you must understand it's the pregnancy hormone" spiel. Being pregnant doesn't give you a free pass to be an idiot. She's projecting. She wants her unborn child to love the vintage name you hated. Somehow, in her brain, convincing you to suddenly love your old name would ensure her child would love theirs too, which is madness. Her child would be a unique individual with their own likes and dislikes, just like she is and you are. Hopefully, she'll come to realize she can't just make people be a certain way to match her athletic. I went to the mall yesterday with my friend 18 female, and we went to H&M. I got a G and a white hoodie at the checkout. I was talking to the cashier, who was an older woman, when she asked if I had an email. I used my mom's email because she shops at H&M a lot. She told me the total was $32 and some change. I thought she applied a birthday discount or something without asking. My mom's birthday is coming up, or maybe there was a sale I wasn't aware of, so I didn't think anything of it. After that, we got food, and after I ate, I looked at the receipt. The cashier didn't scan the hoodie. I was happy because I basically got it for free. My friend told me that she wanted to tell on the cashier because she didn't scan the hoodie, and I told her no because it wasn't my fault she didn't scan it and I didn't want to have to go back and pay for it. She told me that she would pay for it if they charged me, and I said no, literally just don't, and there won't be a problem. I walked all the way to her car while she was still in the mall, and she told a new cashier that the one who was checking me out didn't scan the hoodie. I was so angry because it wasn't her obligation as the person who didn't buy it. I had to go all the way back to the store to deal with it, and I was very upset. My friend did end up paying for the hoodie. Am I the idiot? Edit. I'm paying my friend back for the hoodie. I also didn't make her pay for it. She chose to do that herself. We're still friends and do everything together. Not the idiot. Your friend probably just got the clerk fired to make herself feel better. If she was older, working retail, she's probably scraping by. She could have made a comparable donation to a charity to feel better. If I'm just checking myself out at the store and something doesn't get rung up, I take it back in and pay for it. I've done it for makeup and light bulbs, lol. I'm not risking someone's job if they make a mistake, though. But why is your friend such a snitch? Does she call the cops on you for jaywalking too? Going back to a big corporate store that makes a crap ton of profit, whether or not your hoodie got scanned, to tell on an old lady does not make you a hero who just saved the day. If this were a small business, it would be different. But this is a mass-producing company, and your insufferable friend did absolutely no one any favors here. Sounds like she just wanted to feel morally superior to you, lol. Very annoying genre of human being.